Look at that. $28,199. Woo! I had the opportunity to test ride a 2024 Road King Special. Now the thing about this bike, it is $28,199. That is a ridiculous amount of money for a motorcycle. That's like road glide, street glide types of prices. Now, why was it this expensive? We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's get on the bike and I'll tell you what I thought about it. Dang, what a nice bike. Not too bad lifting it up. Could use my legs doing it by twisting the steering wheel to the right. Try it now without twisting it. Yeah, it's still not that hard. Big, big, heavy bike. Right now on the onset, it's a big heavy bike. It is a big heavy touring bike. So previously I had a Lowrider S, a 21, that had the speedometer, all this cluster on the tank as well. Brakes, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going too fast, so brakes just feel a little squishy. And the bike is definitely heavy. But I don't like this cluster on the tank there. You know, it's tough to not dislike a bike. When you get on it, you start pulling that throttle, and you're giggling like a little girl. That's what's happening with me right now. I was honest with the sales guy. I'm here at Harley Davidson in Madison, and I was honest with the sales guy, Dan. This bike is priced at $28K. I'm not sure why. Maybe it has some of the extra bells and whistles that the Road Glide and Street Glide have. One of the reasons this bike is $28,000 is because it does have Harley's traction control, hill hold control, ABS, and a few other bells and whistles. Does that justify the $28,000 price tag? I'm not sure it does. Oh, I can fucking get used to this. Oh my God, it's so nice. To make this bike happen at this price point, I would need to give up a few bikes. I'm not gonna go too far, but man, even the stock seat is comfortable. I wish this gauge was more in front of me, because it's kind of challenging to look down. I know the way I probably have the GoPro positioned, it looks like it's in my field of view, but it's not at all. So I haven't gotten out of second gear here. Let's change that. I just love how burly this bike feels. And I like when I ride a bike, I like to, at a stop sign like that, I like to balance the bike, and I just did that with ease. So I test rode with my buddy Eric yesterday at a different dealership, Road Glide Special, and Lowrider ST. Each one of those bikes was a very different experience. And I'm kind of comparing my experience on those bikes to this one right here. And obviously, between the three of those compared to this, the biggest difference is I am getting a big gust of wind straight at me. And this bike, stock, does not come with a windshield. And I know when they had the Road King Classic, right, the Road King, or maybe it's just this Road King Standard, not really sure what they discontinued, that came with the windshield. And so, like, I like this. I mean, on my Sportster, that's what I get. That's what I get, that big gust of wind. I don't like that there's tons of roundabouts. Well, maybe I do, actually. It gives me a feel of how I can tip this bike in at slower speeds. Kind of like the cops do. Oh yeah, I'm really leaning this bike at slow speeds here. I'm gonna go towards Cambridge. I said don't go too far, but I want to pull my camera out a bit. Take some images of it. All right, let's get out here, pick some speed up. Oh my God, I love this bike. Yeah. I mean, even though the breeze is coming straight at me at 60 miles an hour, soon to be 70, I'm in third gear, and those RPMs are nice and low. For those of you who watch my channel for the Sportster content, yeah, the Sportster, high revs, but sometimes it's just nice to cruise with those low revs. It's a little bit more comfortable. Now, I am 5'9", 5'10", if the ladies are asking, and I feel a little stretched out on this bike. I feel like I would need to lower these bars towards me just a tiny, tiny bit. I'm a little bit more longer leg than long in the abdomen, so I know I got another gear here, gonna shift to 6, really pour on the throttle. Oh yeah, that power is pretty good. That wind is a little brutal, I'll be honest. That's a little challenging. Alright, I'm gonna turn around this next exit. I would need a windshield, I think, if with this bike. That wind is nice, but if I'm going long distance on a bike like this, I would definitely need a windshield. You know, this bike, as priced, like I said, it's got to have some extra bells and whistles, maybe the hill hold control, and the traction control, it must. If it's $28,000, I know it's got the cruise control. I'm not going to use it because Dan, the salesperson, asked me not to because it's still in break-in. Yeah, I mean, it's got some nice things. I got to find out why it's $28,000. They sold a white one that I was looking at. That one was $25,000. Why is this one $3,000 more? I love that. I mean, it's an 800-some pound bike. Put on the screen here exactly how many pounds it is. I like that it's easy to tip in. I mean, it feels so well balanced. And there's just something different about the comfort of this compared to the Road Glide, which I rode yesterday. It was really comfortable. I really like that bike. I don't like the style as much as this, but I feel just a tiny bit stretched out. I do like these bars. These are like right at the perfect height, I think. But I think they just need to come towards me just a tiny bit. Whereas the Road Glide, I felt comfortable on that. The moment I pulled on the throttle, no wind. The thing that really appeals to me about this bike is the lack of technology. I feel like I don't need all that. I've got that on my Africa Twin, and I feel like I don't need that. The shocks, a little bouncy, a little bumpy, not what I would expect for a $28,000 bike, and I feel like the rear shocks would need to be swapped out. It's a little bit more aggressive than I thought it would be, so that's disappointing for a $28,000 motorcycle. This is definitely way more comfortable than my Africa Twin, I'll say that. Oh my goodness. And sometimes when I'm on these M8 bikes, I usually ride high in the rev range on the bikes that I ride, and sometimes I forget how low I am. You know, I say the wind's coming straight at me, but it's not terrible. But, you know, if I'm on this bike for 6 hours, I would definitely need a windshield. I would much rather have a different color. I mean, black's alright. Vivid black, I think it's called. But different color would excite me more, like some of the ones with gold flakes in them. Just appeals to me a little bit more. Yeah, the only thing I don't like so far, well, two things: the price and also the riding position. I want to be back a little bit more. I'm riding a touring bike. I want it to be super comfortable. I feel like I'm leaning forward a little bit, so I think these bars have got to come forward a little bit. Alright. I just went a little too far. We gotta go back. I really like how I was slow maneuvering with ease around those roundabouts. It made me feel very confident on this bike. I know the feet forward riding position for some non-Harley riders is a little bit much, but I kind of like it for the type of long distance riding that I'd want to do on a bike like this. Do I need this bike? No. Absolutely not. Do I want it? Yes. And the other thing that's great about this bike is way more visible than like on my Sportster or on my little Honda 300L that I actually rode to the dealership today. So it's quite the experience going from that little 300L to this bike. But way more visible. Way more visible. I mean, still, it's still a motorcycle, so you're not going to be as visible as you would in other vehicles. But like, I switched 3 lanes, and I was pretty visible during that change. Now I know some will watch this video, see what I've been doing on my channel lately, and be like, "What are you doing? This is not who you are." Honestly, I love this bike. This is the kind of bike that I want to ride. I want to ride 2-up with my girlfriend and have some fun that way. It's a little hard on the Africa Twin. It just doesn't have the power, and I know some will disagree with that, but the suspension is not great for 2-up. While some will say, well, this doesn't have the power either, but it's got the comfort for 2-up riding. Definitely much more than the Africa Twin. So yeah, this slow maneuvering, kind of nice. Easy for a big heavy bike. Brakes seem pretty good. Able to plant my feet easily and comfortably. Got a little bit longer legs than my torso, as I mentioned. Sounds pretty good too. So yeah, pretty visible. That car saw me, thought, well, maybe I better not go. Beautiful bike. Now, this is a bike, when I first started riding, I envisioned myself getting on pretty quickly, but just held on to the Sportster longer than I thought I would. Or I shouldn't say held on to. rode the Sportster a little bit longer than I thought I would. But I love that I'm sitting in 4th gear at about 3,000 RPMs and nowhere near the vibrations of my Sportster. 2,600 now in 5th gear, going 60 miles an hour. Go up to 6th, drop down to about 2180, 6th gear. 22, 23 at 60, 65. Just a comfortable bike to ride. And with the cruise control on, some of those interstate miles can be eaten quickly. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be going on gravel roads like I would be on my Africa Twin, and I think I would miss that. But having the Africa Twin and this bike at the same time does not make sense. It just doesn't make sense because I don't go off-road with the Africa Twin. I would use it for long distances like I would with this. Africa Twin doesn't make sense for 2-up with me and my girlfriend. This does. It's a fun bike to ride. It's a really fun bike to ride. And I want it. But it's $28,000. They're letting me ride a brand new bike. It probably has like 6 miles on it. Yeah, it has traction control, rider modes, ABS. Since it has a traction control, I'm guessing it has hill hold control. You know, and these are all things that are on my Africa Twin that I like. You know what? I'm gonna do some slow maneuvers here. Yeah, I mean, it's big and heavy, but way more manageable than I expected it to be. Love it. All right, let's park it here. Put it in neutral. Kind of stand back here a little bit so you can see it. 114. God dang, beautiful bike. LEDs. The fact that it doesn't have the halogens of old could be another reason why it's $28,000. Wonder if these bags are locked. Nope. Yeah, look at that. $28,199. Woo!
So there's a few big takeaways here. One of them is how expensive these bikes have become. Yeah, inflation plays a role, but that's not the only thing. Bikes should not cost as much as cars. They just shouldn't. These are luxury items, these are toys. Some of us use them for transportation, yes, to and from work or wherever else. Some of us don't even own cars and just ride bikes, but they should not cost as much as automobiles. The other is the Road King. Its style, the type of bike it is, it fits the HD culture and identity. Someone said to me recently that they thought that they were going to discontinue this bike. I just don't see that happening. It's too much ingrained in HD's identity, in HD's culture. I just don't see it going away. Maybe that's just me hoping. I'm not sure. All I know is that I love this bike. About a month after I bought my first bike, my Sporty, I saw this bike. It was 2017, and it was the first time that I saw the special, the Road King special, and I knew I wanted it someday. And now that urge has grown really, really strong. I'm not gonna give up a few bikes to get this type of bike, but someday this bike will be in my stable.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Ride safe out there. Keep your wheels rolling in the right direction. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you soon.